Hey, this is Jim back with another segment on NDI November, talking with Matt Baker at Visua. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Hey Jim, thanks for having me. Always a fun time of the year. We get to do this and talk about NDI. It's exciting.
Absolutely. It really is exciting. You've joined us on these shows before. You know a lot of the format and things that we're going to talk about, but I'd like to take a brief moment for our audience tuning in today. Please introduce yourself, introduce
hmm
Visua for all of our audience that have tuned in.
Yeah, like I said, Matt Baker. I'm with Visua. So Visua, we're an AV integration firm that we do everything from large format LED displays to audio systems to video production, digital signage, essentially anything that turns on and off in a sports facility. Because our primary market for the last 40 years has been tier two sports stadiums, so minor league baseball, hockey stadium, soccer, which is getting really popular out there right now. That's essentially kind of what we do, and our focus has always been we help teams. That's kind of our motto, and just helping teams design stadiums, design AV systems, and help them produce a great fan experience.
That's awesome. And we invited you to join us today to talk about one of those experiences, the work that you did with the Knoxville Smokies at the Covenant Health Park. Can you tell us a little bit about this project?
Sure. Yeah, this has been kind of a huge project we've worked on the last, I'd say, about 5 years that just opened April of this year. And you can see kind of one of the main focuses on your screen right now of that stadium is a video board that's actually in the shape of Tennessee. That's been kind of one of our premier things that we've done. Now, for some reason, now we're like a firm that can design LED screens in the shape of states. But that's kind of the main the focus of the stadium. But really, as we've designed that project and spent time building that out, because we did the video board, the digital signage, the audio system, like I said, everything that turned on. And as we were thinking about how we were going to design this system and thinking about like the tier two budgets and how to keep costs down, but also give more flexibility in that great fan experience. NDI has always been kind of the driver of that for us, and it really has become a standard in how we design these stadiums because we wanted to give the client the ability to anywhere in their ballpark acquire a source and send that source to wherever they want in that facility, whether it's just going straight to their replay machine or their switcher out to the viewer at home, or from a TV or a spot in their ballpark club to the TVs in the ballpark club. Sending sources is kind of a key piece of how we designed the system and how we integrated NDI in there. So we put like 9 PTZ cameras in this facility, give them the ability to show their fans and give them unique angles. So we have 7 PTZ cameras that are out in the field, 2 down in the dugouts, 2 that are up high in the concourses, 2 that are out in the corners in the right in the left field quarters, and then 1 out in center field. But we kind of did something that also a little bit unique as well. We put a little PTZ camera in the play-by-play booth that gives the play-by-play commentators control over how they're viewed in the broadcast, as well as we put a PTZ camera actually in their press box where they painted their wall green and give them the ability to access their green screen and display content throughout the facility at any time through there. So NDI was a big driver of how we built out that stadium to acquire sources and distribute those sources to more than just the broadcast, the in-house show, and throughout the screens that are inside the facility.
And I think that's one of the important things to understand for our audience is when you get those cameras and all those sources onto the network, they become available to not only drive the broadcast outside of the stadium, but they
hmm
help create a better in-venue experience by taking all of those sources available to that beautiful video board in the shape of
hmm
Tennessee, right?
Yeah, and it gives them more flexibility on how they operate their stadium as well, right? So they have
Sure.
a ballpark club that's right behind home plate, this big ballpark club, and they activate it quite a bit with different events and such. And they've got TVs in that place, and they've, they'll you could plug a HDMI port into the wall, but we want to give them a little bit more flexibility and a little more power, essentially. So we gave them essentially what we call our little NDI road kits, right? So like we give them a little NDI encoder
Okay.
that they can take, and we've got ports in the ground, Ethernet ports that are in the floor that they can open up and plug a source in there, whether it's like a presentation that someone's brought in or whatever. And the ability with NDI is we can send it to the TVs that are in that ballpark club because everything is connected within that facility, we can also send that to the video board as well, which gives them a little bit more power to the activation within that room, is they can display stuff throughout the facility, also throughout the suites, and they can distribute to wherever they want because they're utilizing NDI to do that and acquire that and then distribute it.
Absolutely, and that's all being handled from a centralized control area right there
Mhm.
in the stadium itself as well, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, we've got you can control everything from their press box, their control room, as you're seeing right there. In that screen right there, we have your typical TriCaster TC1 Pro there, PTZ camera operator to the left of him. Flowix is running their graphics for their in-house broadcast, which is a really powerful tool for them. And then they got their 3Play. But outside of just that central control, right there, the beautiful thing about NDI with NDI tools is you can just pull up your laptop and view your sources, all those NDI sources, and then control them from anywhere, from your laptop or so their offices are actually in a building that's across, kind of not within the main building, but a separate building, but it's all within that same network. So from there, they can also control and access their NDI sources and view them and monitor them, which is a really powerful thing about NDI. Is it's not just you can only control it from one central area. You can also have the flexibility to view and monitor and control from anywhere on that network.
It really gives you that flexibility of creating your control either on-prem or off. Even if you're
Mm,
not across the street, you can access that network, as we talked quite a bit about over these last couple of weeks. And of course, this is all designed and ready to go when your sporting team, the Knoxville Smokies in this case, or anyone
hmm.
else needs to get ready and get live for a game, right?
Correct. Yeah. The beautiful thing about a PTZ camera, I always like to talk about this because PTZ cameras, they're always on, right? They're never late. They're always on, and you can always utilize them in your show. So my favorite thing, because we put their PTZ cameras up high in the concourse, and they're kind of
Well, we ran into a little hiccup there. Just had a little bit of a technical difficulty. Matt, we got you back. I want to go over that last point. I don't know when exactly the technology kicked out on us, but we
Mhm,
were talking about the process of the control room and everything that these guys can do there in the control room and how they have
mhm.
access to the PTZ cameras all across the ballpark. And you were telling me about some interesting things that you like to do with some of those cameras, right?
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool things. If you have PTZ cameras, right? I always kind of talk about how they're always on, right? And especially they're never late for anything that you're trying to do. They're always on, they're always accessible. So we try to use them for a couple different ways outside of just your normal production and normal, first to ninth inning show. Is when people are walking in the stadium, you've got all those PTZ cameras. We like to take them and then point them at the fans and try to get them on the video board as soon as we can and get them ingrained and immersed in the show and the fan experience. And that's a powerful thing about these PTZ cameras and NDI, because they're always on, they're always accessible. We can do that. Um, for me as an integrator, what's also kind of cool with PTZ cameras and NDI is that I can access and see the ballpark when I need to for troubleshooting or for the client for security purposes, that I can access those PTZs, move them around, and I get a 360 view of the ballpark through those whenever I need to through NDI. So there's a lot of unique things that you can do that you might not typically think about with how to utilize your PTZ cameras and NDI through sending sources and accessing sources, whether it's on your network or remote as well.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the things you see in these ballparks is it becomes increasingly important to engage with the fans. So
Mhm.
when the baseball game is not happening and you can get the fans onto the scoreboard just by turning one of your cameras in the outfield onto them, it brings them into the stadium, it makes them part of the experience, and it builds upon that community that especially the minor league baseball teams and other tier two sports that you talk about are really looking for in their ballparks, right?
For sure. I mean, we talked a lot about that at Sports Stream a couple months ago about putting the fan up on the video board and how much that impacts that fan for their life, essentially, especially young kids, right? Like it makes a huge
Yep.
impact on them. And it's all about driving fans back to your facility or viewers at home to want to watch again, so giving them unique views and unique things. And that's why, we utilize NDI because it gives you the flexibility to be creative and do things that you couldn't typically do if you just ran one home run cable back to a camera drop somewhere and you're kind of stuck in that location. With NDI, you have so much flexibility to do much more than that.
That's awesome. And Matt, we have one other picture to pull up here, and it just shows how excited you get when these
Mhm.
stadiums are up and running and ready to go. Tell us a little bit about this shot.
Yeah, that was opening day right there.
Nice.
From everybody getting ready. It's opening day whenever you're opening up a new stadium. There's always a little bit of chaos. I say a little bit, actually, there's a lot of bit of chaos because everybody's running around like, oh my gosh, we're opening this place, we're turning everything on for the first time. What's gonna go wrong? How do we adapt and how do we move forward? So that was kind of the calm before the storm, but actually went really well. I
Great.
always talk about kind of the moment of anytime you're opening a stadium is that when the national anthem singer, as an integrator that does these big stadiums, when the national anthem singer comes up and is singing, and then you got the wireless mics and everything is focused on them, and everything's focused on the sound, the visuals. That's kind of the key moment that you're like, he did it. We opened up a new stadium. All the fans are here and we made it through and everything went off without a hitch and it's great. Other than you got to look this up on YouTube. There's a video they actually had the Eagles. I can't remember the name of the Eagles eagle like that flies at every Eagles game. They had
Okay.
that for their opening day. It attacked the camera operator on that day. Check it out on YouTube. It's a funny video.
Oh, wow. And we will
Flew
include
around in
that YouTube
circles and
video.
attacked them.
We will absolutely include that YouTube video with this. That's great. That's a lot of fun. If you have any questions about the ballpark application that we talked about today, or need help in your sports stadium for NDI production, scoreboard displays, any of that production technology that we talked about, Matt at Visua is a great person to reach out to. You can go to visua.us, reach out to Matt and the rest of their team, and they can definitely help you out on that. Matt, thank you so much for sharing this case study with us. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate it. We'll see you next year.
Thank you very much.